Guys, welcome to Chapter 8 of your student journal. What chapter is this? Basics of Geometry. Okay, so Basics of Geometry. We're starting off with points, lines, and planes on page 216 of your student journal. A lot of this stuff to start because geometry should be, or if it's pretty new to most of you, if you already know some of it, then you have a leg up on everybody else. But it's going to be requiring a lot of explanation. And the best way, so after these definitions, you're going to see a ton of examples after this, but I'll just go through them anyway. So point, so imagine this is your plane. So this is a plane. It's just a two-dimensional figure. Imagine a plane as a piece of paper, essentially. A point is anything on that's a point on a plane. A point is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a spot. A line. So now we're going to get into a line. The important thing about a line is that it never ends. So that's why I have an arrow that means it's going to keep going that way, and an arrow that way that means it's going to keep going. It's never going to stop. Collinear points are points on the same line. Collinear, like collinear means same line. Line, important thing is never ends. Coplanar points, let's just move down. Coplanar points are points on the same plane. So like right here, so let's say I have this point A, I have this point B, I have this point C, and I have this point D, and I have this point E. E is coplanar with A, B, C, and D. It is not coplanar with F, because F is outside of the plane. Collinear points are B, C, and D, collinear, because they're on the same line. Let's see, we're going to skip defined terms, I don't think it's that important. Line segment, so the important here is, let's see, line segment, or segment, a segment or part, section, or chunk of a line. The important difference between a line segment and a line is that a line segment ends. So let's say CD could be a line segment if you only take that section, like this section right here, this chunk. Or I could just say this line segment and not draw any arrows on it and say, oh, that's a line segment. Endpoints. Endpoints are the points at the end of a segment. So, in this case, let's say I had ABCD of GH. So these would be the endpoints of segment GH. Moving on. Ray. I forget how many different, it's always a reminder to me that when I teach this that you guys are learning a lot of things in this section. So a ray is like a line and a segment combined. So a line segment has no arrows. There's no continuation. It just stops. A line continues in both directions. An array only continues forever in one direction. It doesn't matter which direction it goes in. It could be to the left. It could be to the right. It could be up. It could be down. It could be diagonal, whatever. It only continues forever in one direction. Like a combination of segment and line. It goes on forever, but only in one direction. Opposite rays. So these are just rays that go in the opposite direction. So let's see here. Now this is going to look funny because you're like, oh, well, doesn't this look like, and pretend for the sake of this that they're all in the same plane that I had extended this. If you look at this, you might say, oh, it just looks like a line. So this is where naming turns important. Let's say W, X, and Y. So I'm going to show you the naming convention for a ray. So one ray might be XW. The way you write this is very important. The arrow has to go in the direction that you want it to go in. So if I'm referring to XW, I'm starting off at X and I'm going off in W's direction, which means I'm referring specifically, I'll use a different color here, I'm referring specifically to this ray. This ray right here is XW, that part. The ray that's going in the opposite direction, so opposite rays are XW, and well, the opposite direction is this way. Oops, that way. So starting from X and going to Y. Notice that my arrow is pointing toward Y. If I said something like this, XY, that would mean pointing towards X, which is that way, which is not what I want. To be opposite, at least. Opposite rays, so for rays that point in opposite directions, and intersections are just intersections like line intersections where things meet. So that's an intersection where shapes or figures meet or touch. Alright guys, I know that was a lot of vocab to digest, but it just comes with the territory of a new chapter. Point has no dimension. A dot represents a point. A line has one dimension. It is represented by a line with two arrowheads. Extends without end. Through any 2 points, there's exactly one line. You can use any 2 points on a line to name it. So here are 3 examples of how you could name this line. Line L, line AB, with this specific drawing or notation, or line BA. It doesn't matter which order you go in. A plane has 2 dimensions. It is represented by a shape that looks like a floor or a wall, but it extends without end. Through any 3 points not on the same line. So these 3 are not on the same line. There's exactly one plane. You can use 3 points that are not collinear to name a plane. So you can call this plane M. This, like, if you notice, M does not have a point. It's just M is like in the corner of the plane, and there's nothing. It just means it's referring to the plane. Or you could just list out 3 points that are not on the same line and say, oh, this is the plane. Segment. Yeah, segment. This is how you write it. It's just like what it looks like. There's no arrowheads, so there's no arrowheads. Ray has 1 arrowhead. Note that AB and BA are different rays. See, because it depends on which way the arrow is pointing. So AB means towards B, and BA means towards A. If point C lies on AB, then CA, so these are opposite rays. Basically, just one line is made up of 2 rays. One that goes one side, the other one that goes the other way. Those are opposite rays. So all lines have, are made up essentially of opposite rays. Sorry. Give 2 other names for line CD. So I'm looking at this line CD. Another name is, well, right there. Say line, oops, I have to say it like that. Line L. Or line DC, because you can name it in different ways. Give another name for plane M. You could call it, what can you call it? Plane ABE? Sure. Plane ABE. Plane ABE or ACE or BCE. I'll just call it ACE, so it's ACE. Name 3 points that are collinear. Collinear, same line. A, C, B. Name a point that is not collinear. D or E, either one of these. So let's see here. A, B, C are collinear. D and E are not collinear with those 3 points. Name a point that is not coplanar. So this is plane M. What is outside the plane? Point D. What is another name for PQ? Line PQ. Notice a line because I see 2 arrows. I know it's a line. So you call it line J or line QP. What is another name for line RS? Line K or line, you could call it line TR. You could call it line TS. You could call it line SR. Whatever. Same for PQ actually. You could call it TP, line TP, line TQ. Many, many options. Name all rays with endpoint. Endpoint T. So I could say TP. TP. TQ, TR, and TS. And which of these rays are opposite rays? TR is opposite with TS, and TP is opposite with TQ. On the diagram, draw lines, planes M and N that intersect at line K. Okay, so the heck? Just any two planes that intersect? Okay, well, there, that's easy. This is plane, what? Planes M and N. They connect, as in they overlap at line K. Well, they're overlapping, so sure, that makes sense. Sketch the figure described. Segment AB and ray BC. That means I have to keep going in one direction. So I could go like, oops, let me reset. I could continue in the same direction and say BC, or I could just go like this. I could do either one was fine really. I just wanted to show you some variety. Line K and plane M. Oh my goodness. Plane, throw an M in the corner somewhere. Throw a line up in there. There. Wow. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? That's it for section 1, guys. 8.1, I mean. If you have any questions, ask your teacher, let me know. But yeah, mostly this is just covering the terminology of geometry that you'll need to use later. Yeah, hopefully you get it. If not, again, ask your teacher, let me know.